Hello, today we are solving May 2019 IAL Unit 1 question number 4 part B. It says prepare the manufacturing account for the month of March 2019. Okay, here we have the information for the Willow Timber manufacturers who manufactures the wooden products for the garden. Okay, the information is given here. To prepare the manufacturing account, okay, you will prepare what is the cost, okay, of manufacturing, okay, of manufacturing these products, and you will try to understand what is a transfer to the finished goods, okay, when you are transferring it as finished goods. So then you will transfer it to the profit loss statement, okay, transfer of finished goods cost you will determine and use it in the profit and loss statement. Now let's understand the manufacturing costs involved in manufacturing the wooden products. So the first one is you will have the opening raw material inventory, the cost, okay. First you will start off always with the cost of, what is the cost, okay, cost of opening raw material, okay, opening raw material you have, okay, what is the cost of that, cost of the opening raw material. Then you will add any purchases of the raw material, okay, then you will add, cost of purchases, okay, cost of purchase of raw material. So you have an opening raw material cost, then you will add any cost of the purchase, okay, purchase cost, you will add the purchase cost, okay, purchase cost of raw materials you have done. Now you have the total raw material, then you will remove any returns that has happened during the purchases. So less, okay, purchase return cost of raw materials. And then, okay, purchase cost, and you will also reduce any closing inventory, okay, any closing inventory or cost, okay, closing inventory, closing cost of the closing inventory. So these are the things you will do. So you will understand, when you do all of this, you will understand what is the cost of raw materials used in the production. Okay, this is going to help you in understanding cost of raw material used in production. Okay. So this is going to get me that. So let's start with that point, okay, till that point. So first one is the opening cost of the raw material inventory. So let's write here, and all this are measured in pounds, so I'm going to write it at the top, okay. Now first one is cost of the raw material. Here I have to put the heading manufacturing account for the month of March 2019 for Willow, for whom, okay, whom are we preparing for Willow Timber manufacturers. Okay, this is the manufacturing account. Now you have the cost of opening raw material. So let's understand. So 400 meters of wood is used and the cost is 50 meters. So let's take this, multiply these two. So to get the cost of the opening raw material that was there or as on 1st March 2019, it is 400 meters of wood, okay, at the cost of 50 pounds per meter, okay, at the cost of 50 pounds per meter. So 400 into 50 pounds, that is equal to 20,000 pounds. Then you have, okay, then you have purchase cost, okay, then you have the purchaser's cost. So let's add what was the purchase done. Purchases for the month were 300 meters at 55 pounds per meter delivered. So this was what was purchased. $300 meters into 55 meters. So 300 into 55 meters, the total cost becomes 16,500. So it is 16,500. Let's write it here. Then you have the less purchases returns. Okay, was there any purchase returns? We have to see 30 meters were considered as defective. So 30 meters, okay, were returned back. So that amount at the rate of 55, okay, at the rate of 55 was returned back. So we will have to include that cost. So 30 into 55. So that is going to be equal to 1650. Okay, that we have to subtract. Then you have the you have to subtract the closing raw material inventory. So he says that 250 meters were used in the production for the month. So here already we can see that 250 meters was used up. So 250 meters was used in the production, and this must be at the rate of 55 meters, okay, 55 pounds per meter. So let's see what is the cost of this. So 250, okay, into 55 pounds, that is equal to 13,750. So 13,750 was used up. That was the cost of the things used up in production. Now we can see how much of it was left behind, because if I add this, and if I subtract 1x, I should be able to get the materials, cost of materials used in the production. Okay. So 20,000, okay, plus 16,500 minus 1650, okay, is 34,850. 34,850, okay, and minus 13,750, I will get the cost of closing raw material. So minus 13,750, so that will be 2110. So it is nothing but 21,100. So how did I get this? Okay, we can write it here. So it is nothing but 20,000 plus 16,500 minus 1650 minus 13,750. Okay, So because 13,750 is given, usually you have to calculate the cost of raw materials production, but here already they have given that 250 meters was used up in the production. Okay, so then you will know the remaining left. Okay, either you can use that method or you can say that 400 meters. Okay, but it is at different cost, so you will have to use the one that has the highest price or the recent price you have to use. Okay, because it's using last in first out basis. Here it is given. Okay, so you will use the latest price into your system. Okay, so and then you will get the cost of closing raw material here. Then you have to include all the direct costs. Okay, what are the direct costs we will see. Okay, the direct costs here we can see that here there is an information. There were a total of 6 manufacturing employees in March 2019, each working 180 hours in the month. All employees were paid at the rate of £7 per hour. Okay, so let's add the direct cost. Okay, what are the direct costs? First one is the employee labor cost. Okay, the employee cost, so that is direct labor cost. So direct labor cost, we can see that there are 6 employees. So let's write here, we have 6 employees, each working for, okay, so this is the total labor cost. Total labor cost, it says that there are 6 employees and each of them is working at for 180 hours in a month. Okay, this is for a month, for the month we are calculating. So in a month you are working for 180 hours per month. Okay, at the rate of £7 per hour. At the rate of £7 per hour. So this is the total. Okay, this is the total labor cost we are seeing for the entire month. Okay, out of that we are seeing that 3 of the manufacturing employees are also working for store duties and 2 of the manufacturing employees are working to maintain the production equipment. So these 2 are the indirect labor costs. It is not related to manufacturing. So the total we have to calculate what is the labor cost for direct labor cost for manufacturing. Okay, so we have been given indirect costs here. What are the 2 indirect costs? Okay, the indirect labor costs are indirect labor cost, the cost that's not related to manufacturing. Okay, the cost that's not related to manufacturing are the indirect labor cost. Here we can see that there are 3 employees. Okay, 3 employees. So 3 employees, they are working for 14 hours per month and they are also paid at the rate of £7 per hour. This is for the store duties. This is regarded as indirect cost, store duties. Okay, and you have the maintaining the production equipment. Maintaining the production equipment, it is not related to manufacturing, but the same set of employees are also doing this job, so this comes under the indirect cost. Okay, so and you have so we can see that this is how many employees, 2 employees are there, 2 employees and each are working for 9 hours per month and they are paid at the rate of £7 per hour. Now let's calculate the direct labor cost. So direct labor cost. Okay, because we have the total cost. There are 6 employees, but some of them are working for manufacturing and some are some are doing for manufacturing. Alone you have to take, so that is coming under the labor cost. So whereas the other costs which are paid for other things are considered as indirect costs, but still related to manufacturing process. So we can see that, let's multiply this 6 into 180 into 7 pounds per hour. 7 pounds per hour. So that is nothing but 7 pounds per hour. So the cost is going to be equal to 7560 pounds. So it is nothing but 7560 pounds is the value. Now less the indirect cost. We have to reduce the indirect cost to get the direct labor cost. So what are the indirect labor cost? That is going to be equal to here 3 into 14 into 7, that is 294 pounds. 294 pounds, and the other one is going to be equal to 294 pounds. And the next one 2 into 9 into 7, that is equal to 126 pounds. So 126 pounds. Now let's calculate the cost of direct direct employee cost, direct labor cost, that only you will include. So that is going to be equal to, and that cost you will add it along with your cost of production, cost of raw material cost of raw materials which is used in the production. Now let's add up, let's find out here what is the direct labor cost used in manufacturing. So that is going to be 7560 minus 294 minus 126, it is 7140. So that is going to be equal to 7140. Now this is another cost you will add. Then you have the add the indirect costs. Let's add up indirect cost or the overheads, indirect costs or the overheads, overhead expenses. So let's indicate. First one is going to be, so after the direct cost, so before that, so let's add up these two, direct labor and manufacturing cost. So when you add up these two, you will get the prime cost, what is called as prime cost. This also you have to indicate. So 13,750 plus 7140. Let's add up these two and get the prime cost. So 2890. So 2890. So this is one of the prime cost. Prime cost. Now you have, we got the prime cost. Next one is going to be equal to the indirect cost or the overhead cost we have to include. So let's include the indirect, indirect labor cost. First one is the indirect, labor cost, which we have to add here. So the indirect labor costs are 294 and 126. So let's add up those two. So that is going to be equal to 294 plus 126, that is equal to 420 pounds. Okay, and then you have the let's see what else is there. Willow's Timber overheads for the month of March 2019 were like this. So you have management, salary, rent and rates, insurance and depreciation. Okay, they are shared, the total cost is shared between manufacturing and administration. So let's understand what is the ratio, okay, used for manufacturing and administration, and only the one that is used in the manufacturing you will use it here. Okay, first one is a management salary. Okay, let's write here management salaries. Management salaries, for the first one is for the manufacturing, what is the ratio of the cost they will receive. For manufacturing cost is equal to, okay, manufacturing salary cost will be equal to, they have here there are 6 employees out of 10 employees are working. So 6 divided by 6 plus 4. Okay, 6 divided by 6 plus 4 is the ratio here. Okay, of the total cost is 17,500, which is given here, the total cost it is shared. Whereas let's write it for administration. Okay, for administration, okay, the salary cost is going to be, there are 4 employees out of the 10 employees. So here you will replace it as 4 employees out of 10 employees, and the total cost shared from 17,500. So let's get the values. So when you solve it, it is going to be equal to 6 divided by 10 times 17,500. So that is going to be equal to 1050. Okay, so 6 divided by 10 times 17,500. So that is 10,500 pounds. Okay, that is 10,500 pounds is the salary ratio for manufacturing, and for the administration it is going to be equal to remaining 7,500. So that is going to be equal to 7,500 out of the 17,000. So now let's calculate what is the rent, rates and insurance shared by management, manufacturing and administration. So the rent rate is, so for the manufacturing, okay, the manufacturing cost, and you have the administration cost that is going to be shared between the 2 departments. So in the ratio of, first one is 1,600 out of 1,600 plus 2,400. So that is, ratio is shared is 1,600 meters divided by a total is 1,600 plus 2,400 meters. So that is the ratio. That is the ratio. And the out of the total cost you have to share this using the ratio. Okay, the total cost is 15,000. Now whereas administration area is 2,400 out of the total area of 2,400 out of the total area of 1,600 plus 2,400. So now let's calculate the value. So that is going to be equal to so it is 6,000 pounds. So 6,000 pounds. 6,000 pounds, and for the administration it is going to be equal to 9,000 pounds, the remaining. Okay. Then for the depreciation, let's calculate the depreciation cost. Depreciation for manufacturing, okay, for the manufacturing and administration, based on the ratio they have given. So here it is 45,000, okay, out of the total cost of equipment of 45 plus 15,000. So 45,000 divided by the total cost is 45,000 plus 15,000 for administration which it is holding. So this is the ratio, okay, and the cost involved here is 9,000. So now for the administration it is holding only 15,000 equipment out of the total 45 plus 15,000, and the cost is going to be 9,000 which has to be shared. So this value is going to be equal to 6750. So that is equal to 6750, and for the administration it is 2250. Okay. Now these are the costs. In this I am going to take all these are manufacturing indirect costs. So I am going to first write that manufacturing salary cost. Okay, manufacturing salary cost. So that is going to be equal to manufacturing salary cost. So that is going to be equal to, here we have already calculated, it is 10,500. So let's write it here, 10,500 pounds, okay, which we have to add. Then you have 10,500 pounds, okay. Then you have the rent rates and insurance for manufacturing. So the rent rates and insurance for the manufacturing, so that is going to be equal to, we had calculated here, it is 6,000 pounds. So let's add up 6,000 pounds here. So it is 6,000 pounds. And then you have the third factor, which is depreciation cost. So the depreciation cost is going to be here. So that is going to be equal to, we have calculated 6750. 6750. Now let's add up, okay, to the prime cost to get the total cost, okay, total of direct and indirect costs. Total prime cost plus indirect cost. So indirect cost, so it is prime cost is 2890 plus, okay, 2890 plus 420 plus 10,500 plus 6,000 plus 6750, that is 44,560. So that is going to be equal to 44,560. 44,560. Now we have to include the work in progress. Here the information is given: work in progress was valued by an estimate of raw materials and direct labor used in uncompleted products at the beginning and the end of the month, and these were as follows. So the raw material, so work in progress, okay, at the beginning, WIP, okay, I am going to write it as work in progress at 1st March 2019, and I will have to subtract, okay, less any work in progress, less work in progress as on 31st March 2019, 31st March 2019. Now let's write for these two, okay. So the work in progress is, first one is the raw material, which is at 10 meters, and the rate of purchase at the opening, it was around 50 pounds, so we have to take that value. So it is, the cost is going to be equal to 10 meters into 50 pounds. 50 pounds, why? Because at the beginning it was, opening raw material cost was 50 pounds per meter, plus you also have the labor cost, 30 hours, and you are paying them at the rate of 7 pounds per, okay, 7 pounds per hour. So the value is going to be equal to 710. So the value is 710. Now let's subtract the work in progress as on 31st March. So that is going to be equal to, here we can see it is 8, okay, 8 meters, okay, we have 8 meters, and the pounds, okay, at the closing is 55 meters. So at the closing end of the March, it would have become 55 meters, and their labor is 25 hours, and it is paid at the rate of 7 pounds. Now 8 into 55 plus 25 into 7, so that is equal to 615. So you will subtract, okay, so you will subtract minus 615, okay. I can do this separately here. So that is equal to 95. So that is going to be equal to 95. Okay, that is equal to 95. Now we also have to find the production cost. So let's add up these two to get the production cost. Cost. So the total production cost is 44560 plus 95, that is 44655. Okay, 44655. 44655. That's the total production cost. To this I will add the profit. Okay. So the profit information, let's see if they have given a profit information. Profit, add profit on production. Okay, there is no mention of profit, but the information says the production for the March was transferred to finished goods at an agreed value of 48,000 pounds. So transferred to finished goods. Okay, transfer to finished goods is given. So when I add a production cost, okay, and the profit, I should be getting transfer to finished goods. Okay, so transfer to finished goods is given. Okay, because I'm going to add a percentage of profit cost to production and then transfer it. So that value is 48,000. They have given that. So that is 48,000. We have to calculate the profit. Okay, we have to calculate the profit. So it is 48,000 minus 44,655. So 48,000 minus 44,655. So that is 3345. So that will be the profit that was added, 3345. So this is about the manufacturing account. Okay, this is the manufacturing account for the month for Willow Timber farmer. Okay.